everyone, my name is Gitanjali Singh and I am currently interning at Lexis and Company, and the topic for today's video is torture, terrorism and police. Now there will be two parts of this video, and in this video we'll learn about the introduction, what is terrorism and what is torture, and how the police do it, and is it okay to do it or not, and the UN perspective in this video. And in next video we'll learn about the role of NHRC, Human Rights Commission, and some current and recent cases of it. Now let us start with the introduction by saying that there can be no gainsaying that freedom of an individual must yield to be the security of the state. The courts have upheld the right of preventive detention of individuals in the interest of security of a state in various situations prescribed under different statutes. Now, the right to interrogate and investigate and detain the of a state is detain these culprits and arrestees in the interest of the nation, and it must take precedence over an individual's right to personal liberty. There is a Latin maxim that is called Salus Populi est suprema lex, that is, the safety of people is the supreme law, and the safety must be dealt by the safety of state is the supreme law. Now they coexist and are really not important and relevant, but lie in the heart of the doctrine that the welfare of individual must be yield to that of the community. The action of state, however, must be right, just, and fair. No uncertainty, no unrighteousness, or anything, and no unjust. Now, using any form of torture for extracting any kind of information would neither be right or nor just be fair, and therefore would impermissibly become offensive of Article 21. Such a crime suspect must be interrogated, indeed subjected to sustained and scientific interrogation, but within limits and determined in accordance with the provision of law. However, he cannot be tortured or subjected to third-degree methods or eliminated with the view to elicit information, extracted confession, and derive knowledge about his accomplices, weapons, etc. His constitutional rights cannot be abridged except in the manner permitted by law and within the limits, though in the very nature of the things there would be a qualitative difference in the method of interrogation of such a person as compared to an ordinary criminal. Challenge of terrorism must be met with innovative ideas and approach. State terrorism is no answer to combat terrorism. State terrorism would only provide legitimacy to terrorism, and that would be bad for the state. Now, that community above all thing is the rule of law. That the state must therefore ensure the various agencies deployed for combating terrorism act within the bounds of law and not become laws unto them. That the terrorist has violated human rights of innocent citizens by rendering them may by comprehending them upon themselves may render him liable for punishment, but it cannot be justified that the violation of his human rights except in the manner permitted by law. So we must not violate a human right of an terrorism also, because he is also an individual, but we unless and until it is permitted by law. Need, therefore, is to develop scientific methods of investigation and train the investigators properly to interrogate and meet the challenge. In 1996 report that the UN Special Rapporteur on Torture noted that the methods of torture included beating, rape, crushing the leg muscles with a wooden roller, burning with the heated objects, and electric shock. Because many alleged torture victims died in custody and others were afraid to speak out, there were very few first-hand accounts, although marks of torture often were found on the bodies of deceased detainees. For example, in February in 2000, in late 2000s, there were protests in the village of Handwara, and the trial after Rashtriya Rifles unit detained two villagers, allegedly tortured them for 2 days and then released. There were no reports of action taken in any of the cases. Unlike in 2001, the Home Ministry again did not extend an invitation to the UN Special Rapporteurs on torture and on extrajudicial killings. Now, the prevalence of torture by police in detention facilities throughout the country was reflected in the number of cases of death in police custody. Uh, we must take the example of our India, that in New Delhi's Tihar jail was notorious for the mistreatment of prisoners, with approximately 10% of custodial deaths nationwide occurring there. Police and jailers typically assaulted new prisoners for money and personal articles. In addition, police commonly tortured detainees during custodial interrogation, usurping their position and their power. Although police officers were subject to the prosecution for such offences under penal code, the government often failed to hold them accountable. Torture usually plays under two scenarios: in the first, in the course of regular criminal investigation, and following unlawful and arbitrary arrest. For example, during criminal investigations, police frequently resorted to torture to extract information from the suspect while in custody, and they often crossed their boundaries to do that. There was a family of 14-year-old girl which allegedly abducted and tortured and raped for 6 days by Patiala police in Punjab in 2001, which filed a report with the state authorities to press for prosecution of the responsible officer. The state government at year's end took no actions. This is the situation of India's government to the custodial deaths and torturing. Human rights training for new recruits, middle ranks, and long service officers continued at the National Police Academy. This is where the role of NHRC works. Now, in Punjab, cases of torture were inadequately prosecuted, and victims frequently refused to accept compensation out of fear of retribution. Allegations by human rights activists that victims were hounded and harassed by government agents were really common. Now, in next, that's all for this video. In next video, we learn about some instances of National Human Rights Commission, what situation they had, and the role of NHRC. Thank you.